Hello, everybody. Lead with Empower podcast, episode 3. Zack Morello, Dan Jaskot. Zach, what is cracking today? How's everything going? And are you mentally prepared? We have a big program tomorrow, and this is going to air after this big program is happening. But not that anybody cares it's listening, because you're listening when you're listening, hopefully listening. How are you mentally preparing or prepared for tomorrow's event? We have 80 plus sixth graders. We are looking at some, in my opinion, outside of like natural disaster and like those like special weather events that happen.
Yeah.
But we are, at least in my opinion, we are looking at the absolute worst type of weather forecast where it's like in the 40s and there's chance of rain all day today. Where are you at mentally? What's our check-in? What's our temperature right now with this thing right here, Zach?
So my honest opinion, if this was 4 months ago, I'd be like sweating today, preparing for tomorrow. But after the season that we had of back-to-back programs, sometimes more than one program a day, dealing with all different grades, all different people, literally back-to-back, go, and like now I've had a week and a half of like take it back and do some computer work. I'm ready to go tomorrow, man. Like
rock and roll. It doesn't matter what the weather is. You're locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in, and like I understand what it's going to be like because of this past experience. It's going to be a big program. It's going to be a lot of work. That being said, I'm still ready to rock.
Let it rock. All right, you're obviously come game day, I'll be ready to rock and roll. But as I age and become more wise, I got you by like 10, 11 years here, or whatever it is. There is nothing worse than temperatures in the high 30s to 40s and rain.
True. Very
It
true.
is again, barring any extreme, like special weather circumstances, just like regular weather that we get up here in Connecticut, it's the worst.
Yes.
It is the worst. And the one thing that helps me with the self-coaching, or there's a couple things that helps me with my own personal self-coaching through what's going to be a tough weather situation. One, it's this group of students. It's their first time working with us. So I will not go out there tomorrow and lay an egg. And I know you will not do that either. We're going to be locked in. We will turn up the juice and get the adrenaline going. That's thing number one, which why I'm ready to confront this battle with horrible weather on the day before Halloween. Number two, it is a perfect example of the importance of preparation and the relation to success. There will be a child tomorrow, and we should probably bring some extra layers. There will be a child tomorrow that probably shows up in T-shirts and shorts.
Yep.
No matter how many times it's like, make sure you dress, make sure you layer, make sure you have rain layer, blah, blah. There will be somebody that's in like either T-shirts and a shirt, T-shirts and shorts, or like just like a cotton hoodie that within 6 seconds of being out in the rain is just a freaking cold, wet rag over half of your body. So preparation, key to success. I am already locked up. I got like my Omni Heat Columbias laid out, got the rain gear ready to go. I'll probably go soft and wear some gloves too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, to go off what you said, I know I said I'm ready to go, but warm rain, I'll do it all day long.
Oh, dude, light work.
Bring it on. Yeah. But it's that temperature right before it freezes and the cold rain. I'll admit that sucks.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and I've experienced it. I know how to grind through it. Kind of going into the episode, though, how do you use temperature, heat, cold, rain into the facilitation of the program? I know you do.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Fantastic question. Like, first off, it's it falls under those control the controllable things that's not in our control. Mm-hmm. Right. So, and this is controlling the controllable is a phrase that's out there a lot right now. It's something that's very prevalent in all of our programming. During the summer months, it doesn't matter how much somebody complains, the weather's not cooling off. Right. For instance, like for tomorrow's program, it's going to be cold. It's going to be cool. It's going to be breezy. It's going to be damp, and it's going to be raining intermittently throughout the day. I can complain about that all I want. you can complain about that all you want. It's not changing a damn thing. It's going to rain when it wants to rain, and it's going to be cold, and it's going to be damp, and it's going to be not the best of experiences. So, how do we work that into a program? I think number one, being proactive and being aware of it, right? So, like, and one of the things I emailed, shout out to my guy Ryan Boothroyd, Xavier grad. He's the teacher that arranges this program that we're doing tomorrow. I reached out to him on Monday. I took a look at the forecast. The program's on Thursday. Hey man, looking like we got a shot of some rain during the day on Thursday with some temperature and whatnot. So, please, take a moment to reach out to the students and their parents or guardians and let them know, like, extra layers, layer on top of layer, anything that's like waterproof or water resistant, that should be your outer layer, maybe a change of socks for the ride home, maybe a garbage bag to throw your wet, nasty clothes in. So I think, a good teachable moment is like, how do you handle adverse situations? One, you got to be aware that it might even happen, right? We talk a lot about expecting the unexpected. Like, very, very rarely, no matter what area of career you're in, what profession you work in, whether you're a student, very rarely do things happen exactly like we want them to happen.
Yep.
More often than not, this is like our ideal, our straight and narrow. More often than not, it happens within these like wider sets of parameters. And if you're not thinking of like, oh, it's the fall, there's a chance for rain, and it's always a little bit colder in the fall, that like, this isn't your July cool off summer rainstorm. Like, this is potential for something risky if we don't manage it right. So that's, I think, part number one is like, hey, yeah, it's great that you have an awesome field trip out of school tomorrow, but if that's your only focus, you're missing out on what could potentially be a tough situation. Two, prepare for success, man. It ain't gonna, again, we can complain all we want till we're blue in the face about how cold or how wet it is. It's not changing a darn thing. We cannot control that. We can control how we're preparing and how we're getting dressed for this situation. So, I think it's a great, Ryan, we're not going to add any fee. I'm joking. Now, this is a great kind of natural opportunity to kind of have that opportunity to see, like, can I coach myself through this adversity? Can I do enough of the things that I can control that's going to help me navigate through this situation that's out of my control?
Yep.
So I think those are two key ones. And then the last one is just that self-coaching, right? In our previous episodes, we've both brought light to the idea that, like, the great things that we can accomplish aren't going to happen by just doing like the easy thing over and over again. So like, I think it's a great opportunity, and why I'm excited the program's happening. I joked a little bit about like being miserable. I'm pumped because as we get older and we get further away from like our high school, college time and like competitive sports, like there's not as many opportunities to like test yourself. Yep. So I think there's going to be a cool opportunity to test us tomorrow, and for the students as well. Pretty much can guarantee like they're going to get on the bus a little bit soggy. But at some point, either on the bus ride home or the next day, or at some point later in the school year, they're going to look back on it and be like, damn, that was like the worst weather you could dial up for it, but we still had a great time and we got a lot accomplished, and I'm proud about what I did. And hopefully that's like kind of that springboard of like, hey, next time you're in a tough situation, it's an opportunity to celebrate something real hard.
Right. And like, I don't want to get off topic too much, but when it comes to preparing, you can prepare for anything in that same exact mindset. So yep. I'll go as simple as like driving my truck from here to Massachusetts. At all times, I have this little toolbox just full of crap, just in case things go bad on the road with my truck. And I have that because I've gotten broken down on the side of the road with a vehicle before and had nothing. So
yep.
Like, aside from a spare tire, that's the obvious. Like, I have all these things that if things go sideways, like at least I'm a little bit more prepared than I was the first time that happened. And that's just driving. You can do that with any task.
Oh, anything. And I'm a believer. I'd much rather like take the extra 3 minutes to make sure like that little go bag is set up,
right,
than be caught out on like 8 degrees. Your car's broken. You got nothing. You're just standing there freezing. So it's like, a little extra work on the front end can save us a lot of headaches when we're in the moment of whatever that moment is.
Yeah, and like I'll be out with friends, or like, and this is a dumb example, but like, oh, it's so cold out, and I'm like, I got 3 sweatshirts in my bag right now. You want one? Like, I think sometimes over preparing is good too.
Oh, I can attest to that, and I can share. I agree with that, and I can attest to you are an over preparer because I've never seen this in my life, audience. I have a backpack. In my backpack, my computer, my little notebook, some pens, maybe a snack granola bar. It's a backpack.
Right.
Zach shows up. He has a backpack that is not for any of that stuff. It's a damn cooler backpack. And it's deep. He can get his whole his tricep into this bad boy. And Zach, you are over prepared. You never go hungry during a program.
Oh,
you got fat, you got protein, you got carbs. You are locked in.
Always. And like that's from experience. Like I know this gets personal, but I get a little cranky, lightheaded, malnourished. Like when I'm not eating, I just don't feel like myself. So I bring a whole day's worth anytime we even have half a program.
Hungry, why wait? Grab a Snickers. For those of us listening, for people listening, if you are one of those people that maybe struggles with food prep and like Zach, you get a little ornery when you start to get hungry, maybe Zach can do a separate podcast episode or a little consulting on the side. How do you meal prep for a day out in the field with Zack Morello? Crush it.
You. That'll be a 3-hour podcast.
Now, all kidding aside, dude, good to see you again. We're on our 3rd episode, new format of the Lead with Empower podcast. I thought last episode was a lot of fun, and especially because we started to spend some time focusing on like there's not this like one size fits all team building experience for the different types of groups that are out there looking for team building. And one of the key takeaways from that discussion was for the teacher, the HR manager, the department head, whatever it is, the coach who's looking to arrange some sort of team building experience for their group, just making sure that you're doing your diligence and that the person on the other end of the phone, whoever this contractor is or whatever you call it, making sure that they have a great understanding of who your group is, what their dynamic is, and probably most importantly, like the desired outcomes that you have for this potential experience. So, again, if you're into this idea of exploring team building and it's a team building experience for your group, making sure those 3 bits of information come up in the conversation, whether it's you being asked those questions or you just sharing that information, like a little bit of info about your group, a little bit info about maybe some of their strengths and weaknesses or challenges. And then most importantly, like, hey, at the end of this thing, the desired outcomes are X, Y, and Z. Which is and we also, again, if you're catching this one as your first listen, we also explained and quickly demonstrated an activity that can be done in just about any setting that would qualify as a team building experience for you and your group. So, but last episode is kind of a cool springboard for this episode. We're going to get into not necessarily the different group types that we work with and how the programming might vary based on the group type, but our 3 kind of main programming concepts. So on one end, we have your pure fun kind of team bonding outing. On the other end of the spectrum, we have what you would call like professional development or skill development experiences, which I would say leans more towards like hands-on workshop as opposed to play experience. Mm-hmm. And then the middle area of our continuum or spectrum is kind of that collaborative skill building experience where it's that mix of, hey, we're going to learn a little bit, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to have a good day together. So, again, Zach, for you, this type of stuff is really new to you since January, and you have you almost a full year under your belt. Talk a little bit about your experiences so far with Empower with regards to like selling and facilitating a fun group outing program selling, facilitating more of that middle area, like that collaborative skill building. And I know we haven't had a ton of these for you, but any kind of learnings with regards to like more of those professional development style programs?
Yeah. So, in all honesty, I use a lot of my natural personality to sell just in general of being able to have good conversation and relate to whoever I'm talking to. That's the salesy person in me, and you could use that, anywhere. So when selling the fun program, like the outgoingness and the fun comes out in the phone call, and when I get there, I get people hyped up quick, and like hyped up quick. Dial in on what the activities are, and then let's grind together and have some fun. I mean, even with those, you see people learning throughout, but we don't really focus as a facilitator on that stuff, even though you see it because you have the experience. But the fun ones are essentially a little easier for me, just because of that's what the nature of the activities are. But I will say the ones that mix both the fun and the skill, the team building collaboration, I get more out of it personally to see people grow. It's
Yeah.
it's true. I don't care what age or what group that we're doing it with. When you have that goal of like, I really need my team to work better together. I really need these two people to like get along well enough to get the job done. They don't have to, you said this before in past programs. We don't expect everyone to be best friends and getting pizza afterwards, but you want to be able to work together well enough to get the job done, to get the activity done, to get the program done. And to see, even with 2 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour programs, to see that growth happen throughout that time together is rewarding in my end as well. Like, not because I'm doing it myself, but I'm helping people grow amongst each other. So when I do sell those types of programs, that's something that I'll bring up. Like that, yes, you're not going to have the best friend collaboration at the end, but you're going to have growth even if that in that short amount of time.
Yep. Yep. Now, one of your first, and I don't know if I would categorize this fully under like the professional development umbrella, but I think it was probably one of the programs that was closest to that end of like the facilitation spectrum or whatever you might call it.
Mhm.
Um, was with corporate group, backyard,
Yep.
and I remember we both jumped on a couple different calls, right, to get a good feeling about like the desired outcomes. But I vividly remember our post event conversations. Not one, it was in the dead of the summer, so it was hot as bejesus, and it was in an area where, if I remember correctly, you didn't have a lot of like shade coverage
It was
there.
hot. It was hot.
With a bunch of people that work in an office 40 hours a week, right? So climate controlled. Um, if you can, um, what were a couple like maybe kind of the elevator, pitch about maybe what that program was all about, and then something that you kind of saw from the participants that let you know that hey, they're doing a little bit of both. Like they're having this fun, but they're also gonna walk away being better prepared for work the next day from the experience.
Yeah, I think that it was more. I could explain more during my program than the actually selling point. The selling point was the event coordinator was explaining specifically how they're going to integrate AI into the office. You and I both know crap about AI, and I don't think that like there's I said up front like I don't know anything about that. But what we do is accepting new ways of doing things or accepting new strategies of throughout a program, and I can facilitate that. Not to use the word over and over again, but I can facilitate that with with bringing AI into the office. So outside of like working together, we had one of our activities was a difficult puzzle that we have to get done, and there are 3 different ways, 4 different ways to get the same job done, and if you're stuck in your way and it's not working, try something else. try, try something different.
The novel idea, novel
Yeah,
concept.
you think that's a crazy idea, but I have to, maybe the more stubborn. These are, grown professional adults, and sometimes, in a weird way, you have to tiptoe around their ego to listen to someone like me, like, hey, I've seen this puzzle, 1,000 times this year. Let me give you a little assist.
But
So
that ain't it.
that's not it. Exactly. So, but the event coordinator, after obviously speaking with him and getting us to that program and hiring us, he saw it happen like live, and he was participating as well, and he saw his employees listen to what I'm saying when it comes to, hey, this strategy might not be working. I heard one person, Ann over here had this idea, and like that was it. That's all I needed to go. And they're like, okay,
Yep.
and come on over. Like, what did you have? And they changed it up, and they listened to, quote unquote, Ann's idea, and then they started, cooking with butter, as they say. And
Yep.
and for that program specifically, not only did I know going into the program that was their issue, was bringing in a new way of doing things, but I not stopped them halfway, but also at the end when they completed it, be like, all right, everyone, what did we learn? I obviously not like that, but we have
Yep.
a debrief at the end, just talking about how you got to that solution, and I'll straight up tell them, like, this is why we're doing it. Let's try to accept new ways of things that might seem like take a little bit longer at the beginning, but are going to be more efficient, and you're going to win or complete the task quicker at the end.
Yep.
Obviously, that's what I talked about AI, not specifically, but just integrating it within the office.
Yep. And it's again like we're not necessarily going to provide that professional development about like the best practices for AI in a
No.
workplace or in a classroom or whatever it might be. But if we can leverage some sort of experience to help equip people with the tools to integrate something new into their routine, that's a win. So it's not, and I know there's some great feedback from that particular client for that event. So it's not, based on your account and his account and their account, it sounds like it was a hit. And I'm excited as you kind of continue to grow and develop into your your role here with Empower. Like I think that's an area where, especially with your experience in like corporate management, that could be a really cool area, or like a line of programming that I think will be soon turn from something that's kind of new and foreign to something that's a strength of yours.
Yeah, it's only natural that I'm more comfortable in that environment. You would think that it would be, the high schoolers, kids, and I'm learning and I'm getting better. But I still have a lot to learn for that age group, and even sports in that
Yep.
arena. But like, because I'm coming off of 9 years of management in that world, like I know what the problems are, it being in front of them, so I can speak to it a little bit clearer or easier. But of course, there's more to learn with everything.
Cool. Yeah, no, I love it. And so for those of you listening that are like, what the heck's the difference between outing and blah, 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 blah. Little backstory. So when we first opened up back in 2009, Joe Durang, founder, myself at the time, operations manager, our every intention we had was to right out of the gate work with groups and do like leadership training and team building. We found out very quickly, with a half-mile long treetop zipline canopy tour that we used to operate for 10 years. We had a shiny new toy that was much more engaging than maybe some sort of team building experience. So our first few years in business, the vast majority of our time was spent like in harness, leading groups of people through this pretty sick zipline course. And then right around like 2013, 2014, 2015, we started to see some significant growth in our team building side of the business. And one of the, I guess, the tough learning experiences, I think for us at the time, like, all right, team building, we kind of had a feel for what that was and what it could be. And, but we had a couple, nothing major as far as like not incidents, but a couple scenarios where I think the client thought they were getting one type of experience and we thought they wanted a different type of experience. And I think, it maybe was like a solid like C plus program as opposed to striving for getting up into that, high B A range.
Okay.
So one of the things that we did right around that time when we started to realize there might be in certain situations a disconnect, right, between the programmer and the people on the receiving end, we wanted to make sure that we made it pretty clear and evident to people that were going to book with us or people that were info gathering. When you partner up with Empower Leadership, there's essentially three paths that we can go down, three major highways, I guess. And then within those major highways, there's different lanes and exits, based on kind of some of the stuff we talked about during our last episode. Like every group is so freaking different. Like corporate team building doesn't necessarily cover everything. So we started to think deeply into like what we offer, and we came up with the three major buckets, right? So the fun group outing is the experiential adventure version of like going to the bar and getting happy hour drinks, going to listen to a live band. It's essentially, the premise is bring people together through some sort of shared experience. And the primary goal is let's kind of put aside the 9 to 5 stuff, leave it in the desk, right? Leave it in the back, the work bag, whatever it might be. And let's just go have some fun with the people that we are in the grind with on a day-to-day basis, but let's not bring up too much of that grind. Like let's just straight up go out and have a good time together.
Yep.
And the group outing, and it could be for adults, students, whatever it might be, but typically like the fun group outing is something that might be more of like that celebratory type experience. Like, hey, we had a great third quarter. We're going to take a half day off and do something fun together out of work. All of my students in my homeroom made some semblance of honor roll. We're going to do some sort of like reward trip. So yes, as you touched on earlier, like kind of under the radar, there's some learning that could take place. But at the end of the day, those group outings are typically like hour and a half to 2 hours, and they are full send, bring the juice, bring the energy. Like, think about like your most intense like challenge on Survivor, where everybody's just freaking having a blast, getting after it. Maybe a little trash talk, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like a good, fun, positive experience. When we look at that middle category, collaborative skill building, this is where we get into a little bit of both. We're going to have some fun. We're going to work together. We're going to learn a little bit, and we're going to try to take something back with us from this type of from this experience. Group outing, typically like I don't know how you describe it when someone asks about like what's a fun group outing for Empower. I always think of it as like minute to win it, but instead of like 1 minute iterations, like the iterations are like 20 to 25 minutes.
Right.
Like, hey, let's get this group of people split up into teams. Yeah. We're gonna run them through like 5 20-minute activities, and at the end, one of the teams is going to be crowned like the champion, and we're going to give that something to take away with them at the end of the program. Like that's What?
I think before you continue that, regardless of the category or the highway that we are there for, is to set that expectation prior to our arrival. They know what to expect when going there, and then not for nothing, I don't care if it's fun, development, or a little bit of both, the participants have to be open to it. For them to get it, even if it's just the fun one. Like they're like, oh, what are we doing? This is supposed to be fun. Like yes, let's give it a shot. Let's try, and like maybe you're gonna have a good time. And by the end of it, that same person is like running around the field like with their head cut off and smiling like crazy. But I think a big point is to be open to doing these type of activities with us.
Yeah, dude, you hit the nail on the head. Like during the sales process, it is imperative like that there's this synergy between you or I and the person on the other end of the phone or on the other end of the Google Meet or whatever it is. Like just making sure that there's an understanding of like, this is what you want, this is what we're going to offer, and this is how it fits. And like making sure that there's not an I not dotted or a T not crossed, like that. All of those little nitty gritty details are locked in. And again, nail on the head. Like again, how do we take like some sort of learning experience? I think in our last episode we talked a little bit about how like inclement weather can be a perfect opportunity to learn.
Right.
in this instance, I think another great lesson is like in any scenario, if your mindset is negative, your body language will be negative, the experience will be negative. And on the converse, if your mindset is positive and open, you're going to have a little bit more engaged body language. And you